All right, we're live for the second time. I think it's been exactly a week to the day, almost a week. I'm a little tired from lack of sleep, but I'm sure you guys are as well. You're still on tour, calling from yet a different AMC theater, as you
Yes,
described.
we are at another undisclosed location.
Mysterious location.
Yes, as Destiny says. But
Battling the
somehow
storms.
we keep winding up in an AMC parking lot. This is a totally different AMC theater parking lot. The company's going to think we're like some kind of stalking terrorist or something.
We just really love movies and the $5 ticket Tuesdays.
Shout out to
There you
AMC
go.
for their very nice parking lot.
Yes, shout out. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so last week we got the first breaking news on Dragonlord. This week, I guess a marketing push and a contest campaign through TCG Player. So we had seen, I think we were talking a little bit earlier, we saw the Kairos, the Archivist, at Sorcery Con last year. I think so far they've just kind of shown the full arts and some marketing push here for some of the same artworks. We're anxious to see more, hear about pricing, distribution, all that kind of stuff. But today we're talking about the Archivist because this is the featured art, I guess, in a way, for Gen Con. Do you want to kind of describe the promotion, how that came into place, and how that's going to work?
Yeah, sure. It's very exciting. So this is the thing I've been not being able to talk about for a while. We have done so many different types of promotional things. There's even more videos yet to come. But this was the big promotion because it's an original painting that I did of a modification to a canvas. We call them giclées, but it's a full-size 24 by 32 Kairos the Archivist with the creation of a new character, which is the Frost Draconis, otherwise known as the Frog Dragon. And he is literally playing sorcery cards while he sits upon the 3 books of the Fire, Earth, and Water Dragons within the library of the Great Kairos. So he's kind of, it completely takes the painting into a new realm, a whole new storyline. And it's so cool because this is like the largest embellishment you can possibly do without actually, might as well just do the whole painting over. I mean, it's a big figure. It's full, I think it's not 10 inches tall.
Wow.
It took a good set. I think it was like a whole session of Patreon to do it. So it's about 5 hours, 4.5 hours. So it's a substantial add-on to that. And just the giclées alone can sometimes run around $400 or $500, but typically when we get these things commissioned, and I've never done anything quite this elaborate, it's about a $2,500 to $3,000 value. So this one I think was a $27.95. So what happened is I was reached out to by the Sorcery team, Eric Curiosa's team, and said, "Hey Ed, we'd like to do some promotional stuff with TCG Player." They were reaching out back and forth to us, and we know that with the Dragonlord set coming up for Gen Con, maybe we could do something. And originally it was just a print or whatever, and I upped the ante. So I offered to donate this almost $3,000 value piece for the sweepstakes. Everything I did and all my communications went directly through Eric Curiosa. That is to say, TCG Player and Eric Curiosa that was their agreements. They handled it. And I know that TCG Player is 100% handling the sweepstakes under their umbrella. I'm simply providing the art, as well as I will be shipping the product to the winner. So we have until the 12th of May to get everybody to sign up. It's free to do it, free to enter. You just fill out the email and then boom, you're entered in to win this painting. So it's a pretty awesome piece. It's not only just a one of a kind, but it also introduces a whole different breed of character, a frog dragon. Now, I've heard that some people, some artists along the way have done a frog-like dragon or a dragon with a frog, but I did mine a very unique way. And I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this as a character within the storyline of the Dragonlord. So it's actually the introduction of the first of its character. So I'm excited to include that. And also the scene you just showed now where you have the close-up of the frog, that's pretty close to the framing of what I'm going to do as a special print that I'm going to have at Gen Con.
Oh,
so,
wow. Nice.
A little mini print of this character, especially with, frogs being so popular with sorcery, and now having a dragon frog, the amphibious reptile that it is. I just thought it would be a perfect synergy to do this subject. So, yeah. For people.
So 24 by, I want to...
2432.
So 24 by 32, but then when you say that frog is like this painting here is about 9 by 12. So when you say that frog is about 10 inches large, it's like you say, it's like a full painting within the original size of the piece is 24 by 32, and then the G Clay print is also going to be 24 by 32.
Yeah. So actually,
That's big. Yeah.
On the screen right now frames out at about 10 by 13, I think, is what you roughly got there.
Wow, that's huge.
So
yeah, because like
nice piece.
The guys on the social media were talking about like the price point, right? When you say it's about $2,500 to $3,000, that's like what a painting of that size of your work, would be at least. Because when you sell the full size piece, we've talked about you're commanding $20,000 to $25,000 for the full scale painting. So you're getting like a 10-inch by 10-inch roughly painting is pretty big, right? Like comparably, is that how you get the value?
No, the background is already there. So all I'm doing is painting the figure and casting shadows on the existing books that are already been painted, that are already in print. So it's a figure add-on. It's like an altar. We call it an illumination added, or it can be considered an altar, but it's just a very elaborate one. Embellishments are typically no more than a quick little doodle, maybe a highlight or a change of color or outlining, something like that. Right. This is another level. And when I do tipping for years now, I've been selling modifications to canvases, never to this extent, but small painted modifications, like adding a skeleton to the grounds of, let's say we have Tiamat and, she's in her graveyard, and I'll throw in another, skeleton or two. And we get 1,500 to 2,000 for those canvases all day long because they're one of ones. But so I did, just to give you an example. Typically paintings about this size, like the Kairos is actually bigger than this. The full size original Kairos is 3 feet wide by 4 feet tall. It's huge.
Oh my God. Wow.
I can't even any place is too big. But so the paintings that I've sold of that size in the past, they run about $20,000. So that's what I've been being paid for at least the last 10 years anyway. So it's reasonable that's how we get, when I do the back of an artist proof card, we get between $1,500 and $2,500, and that's just a little teeny card. So this is a really nice value. It comes with a certificate of authenticity and value. So someone who wins it's going to have a really nice piece. It's even though it is a canvas reproduction G Clay, it has a lot of original painted art on it. Plus, it's been documented. I don't know if you saw. I think you did. You saw the time lapse that we had. I submitted the time lapse, which Dustin did all the editing. Thank you, Dustin, again, of the frog dragon. So we've got that as documentation. That's also up on my YouTube channel for anyone. And what I'm going to do is when the person that wins it notifies me and contacts me so I can get their address and ship it, I will also send them the link to actually the live demonstration of me on my Patreon painting this whole entire thing for the 4 hours. So it's kind of cool because they'll always have a documentation of the piece being created by me. So it's a real full package deal for some lucky person. Me to enter, what the heck?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think I remember you painting that in Patreon, and I was wondering like what the plan was for it. So now here we find out that was several weeks ago, and like you say, it took you hours. And it's not an embellished print. You call it a modification. It's a painting within a painting, given the scale and detail and everything. So it's a really impressive piece. It's more than your typical, like the other one here with the Dragonlord. You drew like a little dragon in the corner, but this is like a full scale, very large figure. It's pretty awesome. So on the point of, I didn't realize the Archivist was 3 feet by 4 feet. That explains how you got so much detail in there. That's incredible. Do you ever travel with your originals, or do you plan to bring any of them to Gen Con? Or what are you going to have at Gen Con available for people to see or to purchase? Right. Do you have a plan for that?
Yes. And actually, we were talking about that this last week. The guys at Eric's Curiosa have a very limited amount of space. They've got it. They've expanded their gameplay area, but the actual booth space is only 10 by 10. So we've got Jeff Menges and myself in there, and we somehow, and everybody else, and we have to squeeze in. So they were asking me how much space could I possibly get in, fit into with what I was planning on bringing. So my thought, and based on what our conversation was, is I'm probably going to bring the one canvas reproduction, which is the same size as that, 24-32. of the Kairos, because that seems to be a feature piece right now, and we're gonna have that on an easel in some placement in the back of the booth, or towards the back of the booth. Yeah, there you can see me in front of the actual canvas. That's not the painting. That's the reproduction that I was about Frog Dragon on. But then we're also going to bring prints. I'm going to bring, because my largest print, which is Kairos, is 18 by 24, slightly small. Well, a lot smaller than the biggest original. Yeah, the real original. But I'm going to bring those. We'll have 18 by 24s. I've got the Dragon Egg. And then I'm also going to be able to bring all the other prints of all the pieces that no one's seen yet. So I'll have, I'm probably going to have 13 different images, 13 different prints.
Awesome.
So we'll bring that. We'll also have the special Dragon Frog, print that's made for Gen Con. I most likely have a few other little surprises. I'm not going to bring my coins. First off, I don't think I'll have them left. They're almost. But I am going to bring a couple of other cool things that'll just kind of be surprises when I get there. But I have very limited space, so Dustin and I are going to be there. My plan is to have a portfolio next to me, a large portfolio that's going to carry all my prints. That way I can keep them off the table. I'll just have one example of each of mine on the table, because I also have to have enough room to sign. And you and I were talking about, doing more playmats, and I am going to be doing a special playmat for Gen Con, and then I want to do another playmat with you. So I don't know which ones will get done in time at that point, but I know I'm going to at least have one playmat. So there's between playmats, prints, and another cool item, there's not going to be any really room.
Yeah. And I remember last year, I mean, I wasn't at Gen Con, but I saw videos and pictures and everything. It's like you say, it's about a 10 by 10. The two artists are there. The Sorcery, Eric's Curiosa themselves had a nice display, like a glass display with a lot of the Arthurian Legends cards. So I'm sure they'll have your Dragonlord card showcase, perhaps some Gothic. So it'll be a nice setup. It's tight, but it'll be cool, and to see all your prints is awesome. I think the Archivist, like you said, that's what size was that again? 18 by 24. The print
18 by 24, but
it's big.
Canvas reproduction is 24-32, and the original is 36-48.
Wow. Yeah, so even like a 24-32 reproduction is going to be impressive to see in person. So that'll be a treat for people to appreciate it at scale.
Absolutely.
And it'll be interesting to see how much Eric can pack in on that little card,
It's going to be something. I want to also point out that I've been watching some of the comments today on this announcement for this giveaway on TCG Player. And I'm kind of interested and impressed with the fact that a lot of people have said, that's a really cool add-on. I wonder if we could have a version of Kairos with this Dragon Frog as some kind of I don't know if it would be called a curio, but it wouldn't necessarily be a curio, but something of a art alternative. And you had spoke to me earlier today about the possibility of maybe having it as a dust reward or some other kind of way that Eric Curioso can use this image, since it is a high-res image. I mean, it could easily be a full card too. But wouldn't it be cool to have the alternative alter card be this character, this Dragon Frog?
Yeah, and I love that he's holding the sorcery cards too. It makes it really cool and flavorful. It's an awesome added effect.
Yeah, and that was something to try to do. The scale of those cards was only about postage stamp, and I had to try to get working around the canvas tooth of the actual canvas. It was quite interesting to get detail, but I think I pulled off enough of a fake. You call it a good fake.
Yeah, so you could clearly see what it is, right? The sorcery, the wording, and then the wizard on the back, the card back.
Also, there are two other. I think there's two other offerings. TCG Player is offering $100 gift cards. I think two of them. I think, and then there's two boxes, that are going to be giving away. Two Dragonlord boxes are also part of this sweepstakes. So it's they're going to have more than one winner. I think it's up to 3 winners, I guess.
Yep.
So that's
one signed and one regular. And we talked last week when you were on, you're going to have your own inventory, some percentage of the print run that you're going to sell direct, signed. So with some special editions, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, we're going to do the artist card. So I'm going to basically have a sketch card included in every one of those signed, numbered box editions, and then we'll have, hopefully, Bear will be able to do a box for me. That'll be a nice, but I'm not going to have any of that, obviously, for Gen Con. We're focused strictly on the product that they have, the regular product. But then as the months go by, September, October, that's when I'll be focused on getting, hopefully I'll be able to get my inventory by then. That's
Yeah.
again, is another thing that's kind of on the teeter-totter, up in the air. We're just waiting to see how things work out when I can get my inventory. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And I know there's more to come. So the details, we've seen some of the art, we've seen your process, some teasers, right? And then sooner or later we'll figure out how it's going to be distributed. It was kind of funny because people were taking the kit price, right? And then the way they broke it down, there was like an average value, like for your print, your modified print, and then people are trying to back into like what the price of the box is going to be. Signed or not. They're like, well, Ed's signature is worth this much, the print is worth that much, so the box is like 50, 75, some people think $100, like, it's like a premium product, right? So everyone was at like 50 plus, and we were trying to figure out like how many would you buy at which price points, and so we're all anxious to hear all those details.
They were thinking, what would you say the consensus was that the average they were details?
Most answers I was hearing between like 50 to 75. Some people were saying like if it was 25, they'd buy like several of them. If it was 50 to 75, maybe they'd buy one to open, one for display type of thing. If it was 100, then they'd have to like think twice and maybe only get one box. That was kind of like the sentiment. But on average, I'd say 50 to 80 was probably the range I was hearing most often.
Wow, that's good news.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent.
So, and then, they're speculating like how many will be made, and, how rare will those foils be versus the non-foils. But it seems like the non-foils would be, the way they're going to do it. It sounds like you'll get one in every box, so the players will be happy they can get access to it. And
yes,
be interesting to see how it affects the game with the new Dragon subset.
Yeah, that's going to be, I am so, well, first, the fact that everyone's going to get in that full box every card they need to play. They are all unique. In mechanical application, the play as well. So that definitely makes things very palatable for many of the game players. And then the foils is what's going to be providing that super collectible thing. And it is going to be challenging to get a full set. Oh my God, it's going to be like a diamond and finding a needle in a haystack. It's going to be really awesome in that respect, because this is being produced at a very low volume, and it's going to be a high-end, rare collectible. It's kind of that boutique thing. They didn't want to market it, so they didn't want to go flood the market with it. So it is a premium, and it's going to be one of those things that not everybody is going to have. How the heck they're going to distribute it, I don't know. I think there's been discussions. I think they mentioned in their posts at certain events and through certain connection. I mean, I would imagine Team Covenant will probably get it. I mean, I'm in the dark with that too,
Yeah. Yeah, people in the chat are excited about the playmat. They said they want a 2-player Kairos. Have you seen the you'll see them if you haven't yet at SorceryCon, the 1-player versus the 2-player is kind of like a custom size. I don't see it that often, I guess. Like when I had some made, I had to get it custom. It's not one of the standard sizes they carry in stock, but the potential to have like a large Kairos or Dragonlord lair, that would look really striking in 2-player format.
Yeah, see, that's a hard one. Doing the 2-player really narrows it down.
Okay.
It makes it also that artwork is not set up for that. So 2-player works better to me if there's on one side something that's facing the player on one side and facing the player on the other side. Otherwise, one person's always looking upside down at an image.
Right.
If it's a universal image, which is more of a top-down visual of more like a motif or some kind of collage, that it works no matter what direction you turn it in. That works out fine. So if I do a 2-player, it's going to be a collage or a mix of different images.
I could think of something that I obviously can't say, but I could think of
you have some ideas?
Yeah,
Okay.
There has been one, like Severn did one where there was one of her avatars was facing one way and her other avatar was facing the opponent, and it actually looked pretty nice. They, like you say, both had something to look at, and it looked like no matter what side you're on, it looked really cool. So if you have 2 like dragon characters and you reverse them like that, perhaps that could work. Kind of depends on the background setting and how you blend it.
Right, and then I'd have to put my only avatar, which is the Dragonlord.
Yeah,
he would have to be in the center, so I'd have him in the center. Yeah, stuff like that. I have to design that out. Then of course it has the grid factor in it. The Dragonlord's lair is a definite, absolute. I'm doing that as a play mat, and that all day long a single player. That is a horizontal mat that works fantastic for a horizontal mat. It's
Yeah.
practically ready to go, so,
Mhm.
so I'll definitely be doing that one, and hopefully that's the one I'll have available at Gen Con. So
Nice.
that's my
Yeah.
goal always. But there's
So
so many that people haven't seen yet. They don't know what's in the set, and out of them there are quite a few that are potentially great for a playmat. I guess Dustin's got a couple of ideas too, and some of them situations may be we've got 2 images out of the 13 that by themselves not so much, but together they would work cool. So I'd split the mat in half,
Mhm.
and because the 2 work together, it might work really cool.
Yep. So the this little guy here, is that Sloofus? The Frogman's been asking me relentlessly to get you to talk about Sloofus, or this little dragon guy that shows up in the image. Is that part of your lore, or is that just like a random Easter egg insertion?
No, so Destiny, he's one of our Patreon members, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can't talk.
That's inside info? Okay.
Yes, we
hold
can't.
it.
He should know that. We're naughty.
Oh, okay. So on another Patreon, you'll have to ask in his next live stream, and maybe he'll tell you.
I think that was our operating cute name that I think he made the suggestion, didn't he?
I think so.
It was
Did he really? That's hilarious.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people in the chat, but I think we did like that. Was kind of cool. But no, like I said, I really thought about that and said, as we evolve, we have the reptiles evolving. We now have at this stage in the storyline at the picture of Kairos, this is where mammals are being introduced, So it's that time in evolution. So I thought to myself, well, geez, it would be great to have the hybrid dragon frog as its own species. I mean, we've got imps and all these other kind of rat cats and things. So we're going to have to, and since he is the Grand Master, he's a sorcerer, my God. I mean, this is the dragon frog, the Frost Draconis, the sorcerer. He's basically visiting Kairos. He's a fellow scholar. So we had to come up with a very scholarly name. So I will be presenting that at Gen Con.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'll have my
there's a lot of details there. Yeah, so we'll hear more about the story because the book won't be ready yet, but maybe there's some way you could think about this. Is there some way to provide some teasers or like a few pages from the art book to kind of tease sorcery fans of what's to come in your broader art book?
Yeah, so what I planned on doing for that was you get me to talk about it.
I'm getting away. I don't need to overstep, but I'm just spitballing here, and that came to mind. Like, what an opportunity, right? You'll be at Gen Con. You'll have like all the adoring sorcery fans wanting to hear more about the dragons.
And there's a couple of ways I'm looking at packaging that to be able to for kind of a mini synopsis of things. And so I'm on that. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I just need to figure out how it's going to be presented so I can make it work. And again, all this stuff has to do with limited amount of space that we have there.
Yeah.
So
there's always some surprises with the Gen Con display. So it's cool that, like, I know the sorcery team always likes to tease things and surprise things. So it's cool that the artists are thinking like that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So once again, just to refresh people, when they do go to the TCG player site and follow the links off of the Sorcery Contested Realm, they're going to see an image that looks like all you're seeing is the 2 boxes and this mini reduced image that looks no bigger than a postcard sitting behind the 2 boxes. And it was their digital graphic that they came up with. The problem is they didn't even use the right art. They used the generic Kairos without the modification. So nobody even knows on TCG Player, if they go there, what it is that they're winning. They don't even see the frog. So I have asked them, I have reached out to the team at Eric Curiosa to say, hey guys, could you please tell TCG to update that with the correct image? So we're waiting on that. Hopefully that will be updated. But in the meantime, I'm glad we had a chance to do this because I want people to know that, just like you see on the Sorcery website, they've done a great job. I mean, Eric Curiosa has done a great job at showcasing everything from the time-lapse painting of the frog dragon, even the whole piece, talking about the contest. They've done it great, but we're just kind of get TCG Player on board with the right image, and we'll be good. So
yeah, it's a fun contest. It's free to sign up, and someone's gonna win something it's a 1 of 1, and it's valuable. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, and what you got there, the 1 of 1 that you have, that's a little different. That's an actual proof. So
Yeah, the Dragonlord.
It's a sample proof that we ordered until we got the color right, and that one's the one. Well, there's two of them, one I own and then that you have, and so
Cool.
that proof you have drawn with gold pen. Those are called illuminations. They are embellishments, but they're done with an illuminated gold paint. So it's all line work as opposed to, doing a painting add-on onto the piece like that. So yeah, there's that's a pretty wild thing. Both of these are one of ones, but yeah, this is a big opportunity for somebody to win something cool.
Yep. Yeah. Super exciting. Is there anything else you wanted to or are able to share that we haven't touched on?
What I would say is be watching in the next just about every week. There's going to be something revealed or discussed or talked about, showcased. Like I have 3 more videos that I have to do. So that's more content that will be coming and being showcased on sorcery.com as we gear up and get closer and closer to the Gen Con date. So it's a lot of cool, fun stuff. And hey, we're holding the line right now. We've gotten a lot of great response. I can't believe the coin interest. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till Gen Con happens. And then we can talk some more about even those coins.
Okay.
That we can't talk about now.
Okay. Nice. Another teaser. Yeah, those did really well. You did 200. I think you told me last week when you were on, you had like 50 left. That's unbelievable. They sold so fast, but they're really cool. I got a bunch. I did a giveaway on my last live. One of the Patreon supporters I gave them a full set. People are super excited. Now that they're showing up, like people are just blown away by the quality and the size and all the details.
Yes, they really did come out beautiful. I'm down to, we just did our count before we left, and I think we're at 23 or 4.
Wow.
Now,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's all we got left. So boy, what amazing product that was. Hopefully I can keep coming up with, yes, there's going to be more product. I actually have other things being produced. Ironically, that we just got notified. A major company that produces these things just notified us, and there will be some of the Dragonlord images in them. And so that hopefully will be ready also by Gen Con. So that's an entirely different product and wicked cool. And I guarantee you everybody's going to want them. I mean, they're going to want them. It's very utilitarian. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Interesting.
Spoilers.
Yeah, the wheels are spinning. Wow. Yeah, and like now that the art's revealed, you could do playmats anytime, right? But are you gonna wait on the playmats till after official release? Are you thinking? Or are you still thinking that through? With the Dragonlord layer, right? Because that's been revealed. Are you still gonna wait until after the set's out? There you go. Now we see it.
The Dragonlord's lair is definitely the one we're gonna bring to Gen Con.
Cool.
I don't have enough time between now and Gen Con I have enough time to make them, but by the time I would they're on a roughly 4-week schedule, even sometimes 6 weeks. But let's say they're 4 weeks. But if I went and took care of that image this week and I sent it off, I wouldn't get it till the 1st of July. And by then we're 30 days from Gen Con. So I'll just hang tight on that and see how Gen Con. But I also can't bring a lot to Gen Con because they weigh those. You know how much those.
Oh yeah, they're very heavy.
I call them glorified mouse pads, but those playmats are big. And they weigh. We'll probably bring just one box, 50 copies. If I have time to do a simultaneous release where I'll have, I can actually get them up on my website, so that way if I run out, people can at least get them. But I do want to offer something special to the folks at Gen Con. So I might just do a 10% discount coupon or something like that. So just to keep them happy. And knowing, saying this is why we're doing this for Gen Con. It's a special event. But I will have those available on my website inevitably. And then the rest of them, I'll get right on those because like we talked, certainly doing a two-player mat is in the future. I just got to figure out how we're going to lay all that out. I also have to wait and see what people are going to respond to, which images they really like the most, which cards they feel play the most. The best or whatever it's going to take time for that to circulate. I have seen some communication already though, where folks are figuring out that based on just the Ignis Rex and the Cradle of Ethereum, sorry. God, I keep pronouncing it wrong. That used to be my old name was Ethereum. So Ethereum, those two, they figured out how that's going to help bring in other cards into that already exist in the other form, prior sets. And they're right. And it's going to happen again with all these other cards. So I just don't know how that's going to pan out until the players get a chance to take a look at the mechanics and figure out which card's going to be hot and which card not so much. And obviously I'm going to focus on the cards that seem to be the most universally applicable to whatever other existing cards are in the entire Sorcery world. So that'll be the ones that I'll target on making the playmats,
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, and we were talking in the Discord, and you and I were talking offline earlier that kind of evolves too with the future sets. Like, people are now thinking, are we going to see dragons in Gothic, or the future sets after that, right? Like, and we were talking earlier that in your experience with Magic, some of your cards that were less powerful early on evolved with new introduction of new cards, and they became relevant again or more popular in time. So we've definitely seen that in Sorcery. There's been like seeds of all these thematic subclasses that have kind of grew in Arthurian Legends. You get more beasts and stuff, and now Gothic, who knows? Like, it's kind of like a more generic theme. We don't know what to expect specifically in terms of creatures and things, right? But dragons, why not? Gothic dragons, So someone asked, like, are we going to see Ed's stuff in Gothic? I think.
Well, that's the fun. I really had wished I had been able to do something in Gothic, but everything, with Dragonlord. But I actually, within Dragonlord, there is something that feels very Gothic. So that's all I can say.
Okay. All right. And you got a lot of dragons, man. You could always license more work to Eric, and he's done that plenty, right? Like, you don't always have to paint new. You could leverage stuff that's already existing. So hopefully we will see more, be it in Gothic or a future set. It's a very real possibility if you guys mutually agree to do so.
Yeah.
We'd love to see more.
I didn't do all just, they're not all happy high fantasy dragons that I did in this set. So there's all kinds of stuff and all kinds of stuff that will absolutely work well with Gothic. So that's the thing. When I was doing it, I always do my art where I can have a wide variety of everything from color palette to subject matter. They were hybrids of all kinds of different things. So it incorporated such a wide scale that it will touch upon everything, including the dark side. So yeah, that's going to be fun. See, I want to see how those things do when it comes to Gothic and see what people do with my set from that point on. So there's a slight flavor to say they're not all high fantasy.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I love that too. That's what we love about Sorcery. There's a lot of diversity. It's not all high fantasy. Some of it's like the elemental avatars, like you usually don't see stuff like that in the original ones that Severn did. You don't see that in TCGs that much. But
however,
yes.
Eric Olafson said himself, it is and will always be ridiculously
retro.
Come on, guys.
Yes.
Let's do
the box is super cool. I think it's it strikes some nostalgic chords for sure.
Chords, yeah. It's like I want them to get the box and have come up with a soundtrack that just like screams of scorpions, like
Gotta get some synth in there.
Get maybe synth a little. Well, no, come on. Gotta go.
You know what? We really, once he has it in hand, we really do need like a video preview because it just adds a whole nother dimension. When you see in pictures, it could sometimes be underwhelming. You don't get the full effect. So it's going to be a treat holding it in hand at Gen Con, but the best you could do is photos and videos in the meantime.
Yep, that's it. All right.
Yep. All right. Well, if there's more exciting breaking news, you're welcome anytime, and I appreciate the opportunity for you guys to come on. Thanks for driving an hour out of your way to the local movie theater to make this happen. And enjoy the rest of the Ren Fair.
Yes. Thank you in the chat too, by the way, for supporting our website. Mike, thank you for being an amazing artist liaison, and thank you guys so much for continuing to support us online, coming into the shows, looking for the Sorcery art. You guys are amazing. So thank you.
Someone in chat said they just bought the Kairos artist proof on your website. So you're selling more prints as we're talking here. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you.
Last thing I wanted to ask you, are you making any other appearances between now and Gen Con? Any other fairs or things coming up?
Last weekend of the show.
Yeah, I'll be returning. By the way, we had an unusually a large amount of Sorcery players who came into the Tennessee Ren Fair. So this area here, Middle Tennessee, has actually got a lot of Sorcery players. I was quite impressed. So they came in, they right off the bat asked, they went to the coins, they knew exactly what they wanted. And we had two retailers. One guy, what was the company called? Canada's Canada's Collectibles, something like that. And they're out of Memphis or Jackson, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So retail and coming into the booth here looking for, you know, where can I get this stuff? So very excited to see that. But I will be back for the last weekend, which is the 23rd, 24th and 25th, I think.
And Memorial Day.
And Memorial Day as well. So I'll be back here at the Tennessee Ren Fair. Then we pack that up and then I head back. Well, that's not true. In July. I switch over to the automotive side of my life and I go to Syracuse Nationals where we raise money for Ronald McDonald House, and I paint for 3 days there and do auctions and raise money. We'll also be bringing the 2012 Mitsubishi Evo, the race car Evo, that I did the Fire and Ice Dragons on, and that'll be showcased. That'll be on television. It'll be on the television. I think I don't know if it's Mav TV or somebody. They'll be covering that mural automotive work of art there. And I'll have my Dragonlord, of course. I'll be driving the Dragonlord as I always do. That'll be in July. And then that's it. I'm literally coming back from Syracuse, and Dustin and I will be heading in the Dragonlord to Indianapolis for our 2-day journey to get there. So there's just like no time. June, I have ever so small amount of time. Dustin, of course, has got some stuff that we can't talk about, but he's just been hired as a pretty major voice actor for a major project coming out, and he is one of the leads. So that's all we can say. But he's back to the studio to record in June, so we're not going.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We're just a great time for all of us. We're very excited.
Yeah.
Very busy, but for good things.
Yeah. I was telling everyone on the socials that it's like huge having you at Gen Con because you're such a good showman and have great energy. You know, Dustin will have to keep you under control a little bit, but just kidding with you. But it's awesome. Like, you're a great salesman, you know, so like you representing the Sorcery booth is going to be a big deal. I'm very hopeful and optimistic that you'll get a lot of attention at the booth and draw in some of your fans from other walks of life into Sorcery world. It'd be great.
Yeah, well, we did that this weekend with the Magic players. We, you know, because I usually get Magic, and I was signing cards all week.
Still considering coming dressed up for one of the not revealed things.
Oh,
and they got Dustin totally matches it.
Yes,
so I got to do it.
Dustin has an outfit, total full blown costume. He can become one of the characters that will be.
Well, we've been doing the cosplay at some of the events, so you might see some Sorcery cosplay at Gen Con. I'm sure you will. So there's like a side thing we try to include.
Anybody wants to do that, man, they got my blessing, and I can't wait to see them. I will be pumped if they actually somebody comes in as any of the characters. That would be some.
That
awesome
would be
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you imagine someone coming in as a frog dragon?
Yeah.
Dan was the frog in Sorcery Con. You know, we always get a couple frogs. So
like a puppet of him, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right,
guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And again, like next time we have breaking news, you're certainly welcome. We'll make it happen again.
Thanks very much.
Good luck with the show.
Good night,
Take care. All right. Good night, everybody.